G'day there, and welcome to the rewrap for Tuesday. All the best bits from the Mike Hosking Breakfast on News Talk ZB in a sillier package. I am Glenn ZB, and this morning, we got on a bit of a roll, to be honest, and that's the beauty of a live radio show. You can just go off in any old direction. This was a COVID direction, admittedly, and it was pretty much about... We seem to have this firm, or fairly firm, 90% target now, don't we? What are our chances of getting that target, achieving that target? But before any of that, what are the chances of the government doing anything for the Auckland businesses who are suffering so badly right now in this never-ending level 3?
Prime Minister's got to basically stop lying. If she insists on lying, the media have got to start calling her out. And why they're not doing that, I've got no idea. In the midst of her "you get nothing, Auckland, so suck that up" spin yesterday, she referred to our world-leading response, our world-leading economy. That is crap. It is not world-leading. Just a week ago, the Global Monitor of Rankings on COVID response dropped us from 1 to 38. 1 to 38. It did so for very good and obvious reasons. We are locked down. Our economy is hemorrhaging. There is no targeted end in sight. The upside of yesterday's announcement was the vaccine mandate for certain workers. Why they took so long, Lord only knows, apart from the fact they'd taken age to do anything. But that aside, here's the deal. Given the numbers aren't dropping, haven't dropped, won't get to zero, then I just don't know what it is they're looking for to change anything for Auckland, short of the vaccine, of course. The vaccine is the answer, but that in itself is the next issue. How many people do we need to get jabbed to get free? No idea. Several weeks ago, Ardern suggested 90% first jab. We're about to hit that. Does that still count or not? They're having a rah-rah vaccine day this weekend. What result are they looking for? Who would know? And if we don't know, when is the end? And if they hit a wall of resistance, then what? Who would know? How many people need to lose their jobs? 10,000 and counting currently. How many businesses need to fold? Thousands more and counting currently before they offer a light. And if the vaccine is the light, when do we hit that light? Once again, who would know? What an abject failure this is now proving to be. Auckland's stuck. The economy's stuck. And as a result of Auckland, the rest of the country's stuck as well. How can you even begin to call that a world-leading response is an insult to anybody who's remotely adult and has a brain. So last week was a cluster with their picnic in the park charade and conflicting toileting advice. This week, nothing. Nothing. And given the numbers haven't really moved for 6 weeks, up a bit, down a bit, just how long do you reckon they can pull this con off before it really implodes?
This is the level that never ends. I can't... There's a song, that never ends song, but I can't remember how it goes. So I'm sorry about that. Sorry that just happened. So is getting 90% vaxxed, is that how we get out of this?
So here's your problem. I said we're going to be in level whatever. Forget the levels. It doesn't matter what level we're in. Can you live your life? No. So we're in a level we don't want to be in. We're in the you can't live your life level, right? So the case numbers aren't going to drop. We know that now. I think every single one of us understands that now. The cases are going to bobble around, up and down, around and round they go. So that's not going to be the saviour to our problem. The saviour to our problem is the vaccination rate. Here's the cold, hard reality. If they're going to stick hard and fast to 90%, we're not getting there. As much as I'd like to say otherwise, we are not getting there. There is zero evidence that we are getting to 90%. So currently, we've got 56.7% fully vaccinated, 25% a single dose, 18.1% have yet to have a single dose in the country. 18%. So in other words, we need to find 8% of people who haven't even started to all of a sudden start in the next week or so. Isn't going to happen. And if you're going to go double dose, it's at least another month away. So if they're going to hold hard and fast to 90% plus, and you'll note he's now doing the plus, so it's no longer don't we have any targets. We don't even know if it's 90%, is it 91, 92? We're not even getting to 90. How long are they going to run that line of it must be 90% and we aren't there with the numbers still where they are? But it's going to be Christmas before they even acquiesce in any way, shape or form. They're going to have to blink first is what I'm saying. They're going to have to get to a point where it's 86, 85, 87, whatever it is, and it becomes obvious that's it, and that's all it will ever be, where they go, we quit, we're done, we're over. They won't say that, of course. They didn't say that with elimination. Why would they say that with a failed vaccine rollout? But nevertheless, they will be the ones that have to blink first. Or literally, we're going to be trapped in level 2, level 3, literally forever.
Well, when we get to 85.01, can't we just round up?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to round up now. I'd like to open the door and jam it where the sun don't shine.
Wow, I don't quite know what he means. I don't know what door he's opening. I don't know what he's jamming into what. He sounds worked up. That's probably why She's like a dog with a bone.
Righto, so to the countries that have 90%, and this is why I'm going to win this bet with Stuart Nash, and it pains me to have to tell you this, and I'll tell him this tomorrow, but he's not right. We're not going to get to 90%. I wish I was wrong.
Can I have some of the wine?
Well, I'm going to... I was thinking we're doing a special thing at Craggy Range. We're going down to Craggy Range in December.
Because it was a case, wasn't it?
It was a case. And we're going down to Craggy Range, or up to Craggy Range, depending on where you're listening to this program from. But we're going to Craggy Range in December, and we're going to have a thing. We're going to do a thing. There's a charity they operate with, and we're going to help them, and we're going to have a ceremony on the day, and we're going to hand over the box, and yada, yada, yada. I was thinking...
I'll bet you a case of Craggy Range wine that will get to 90% by the end of the year.
There it is. And I think that he's going to lose by the end of the year. But here are the people who have done it. So first of all, you've got, and this is the other thing, a lot of people sort of round up. But here are the facts. Ireland's got to 87. I mean, I'd take 87. I'd take 80 for God's sake. I'd like to be in Sydney and take 70. But Ireland got to 87, or has got to 87, and that's them done. So it's not 90, but it's near enough. And what's good about Ireland is they're sort of like us. They're a small island nation. They've got about 5 million people. They're kind of, we get Ireland, Ireland gets us. So we can get to 87%. There's no reason why we can't. UAE, 92%. Now, the UAE is an authoritarian regime, so I would take that for what it's worth. Good luck to them, but we are not the UAE. Portugal are claiming 98. That's pretty impressive. So you've got to look at them as a gold standard. Gibraltar 99, but Gibraltar's got 3.5 people on it, so it's not going to be hard. Iceland 88%, but they've only got 340,000 people, so you can't compare the two. Spain, a very large country, they've got 87.7. Once again, not 90. But you'd have to say close enough. And that's what I was trying to say earlier on. We're going to get to something like that. We'll end up at 83, 84, 85, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's at that point the government are going to have to blink, because otherwise we'll be so locked down, so hog-tied, so furious, we want to go and shoot them. So what essentially I'm telling you is there's virtually no one in the whole world who has got to 90%. No one. So what is it that we think is so special about us that's going to make a difference?
I've just had this idea, because you know how it's either incentives, right? Like
Yes.
you give people pizza or free beer or money.
Yep.
Or you threaten them by losing their job, or you can't come here or whatever. There's a third option which we haven't really considered, and it's because with you doing all those totals and numbers and things, it was just reminding me of Telethon, where you make famous people do embarrassing things if you get to a certain... John Hawkesby used to take off his shirt and do push-ups and things like that.
You think that people get jabbed for that?
Yeah, so if we get... Because what are we at the moment?
80.
Yeah, so if we can get to... when we get to 82, you have to do...
So I'm going to do what?
You have to vacuum with your right hand instead of your left hand, or something really embarrassing.
That is, if anything's going to shift the needle.
You have to drive a dirty car across town.
Yeah, I think you need to work on that, mate.
A long time since we've had a telethon. Young people today, they wouldn't even know what one is, probably. And I challenge you to do the same, would be what they would say, wouldn't it? What they would say? It's all a bit hazy to me now. It seems a bit silly now that I think about it all, but... certainly seem to raise a lot of money. But back to the subject at hand. Whose rates are good? Whose are bad? What's going to happen? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what we've been talking all along.
If we get to 90%, Bloomers does the 1 p.m. in a bikini. That's the sort of thing you're talking about, Glenn. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Right. Don't you reckon that'd be motivating?
Yeah, that's probably... It wouldn't motivate me personally, but I reckon there are some people out there. Someone's claiming the ACT has got 97. I don't find that. I find 95. That's single shot. They're at 73. So but I mean, you've got to remember the ACT. This is the problem with small, tiny places. The ACT's got a couple 100,000 people in it. It's not
there's
hard.
Nothing else to do.
It's got, well, exactly. I mean, have you ever been to Canberra? I mean, last time I was in Canberra was only once. I said, God, I wish I could have a vaccination. I mean, didn't I? It was the first thing I said. I had to go to the Sports Institute. That was moderately interesting. And I said, what else is there to do? Can't I have a vaccination?
How sometimes people say, I'd rather stick needles in me?
Exactly. And that's what you say. You go, where's a bloody needle? I'm in Canberra for the whole afternoon. The flight didn't leave back to Sydney until 4 o'clock, and it was only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Where am I? Mike, there's another catch with Bloomfield and what Bloomfield said. 90% double jabbed across the entire population. What about the woeful Maori vaccination rates? What year will Maori get anywhere 90% double jabbed? And it's a very good point, and we need to start talking about it more openly, because it's the problem in the room. Because if you're going to go for everybody, if everybody has to have 90%, then the tail enders, you can do it regionally if you want, geographically. I mean, if you go further south, you look at places like Waitaki, It's hopeless. If you look to the Central Otago region, it's hopeless compared with the heavily vaxxed parts of the country. So you can do it to a degree geographically. But you also have to eventually, and this is where the government's going to fall over themselves because heaven forbid they offend anybody, but you're going to have to do it ethnically. And the reality at the moment is the current double jab numbers are 90% plus for the Asian community. It's 69.9 currently, European 58, Pacifica 51 and Maori 37. And you can't get around the numbers. If you're waiting for Maori and the Pacific community to come up to 90% double jab, we are going to be locked down literally forever. And they're going to need to do something about it. They're either going to have to acquiesce and go, look, it's not going to happen, or they're going to have to run some sort of program where it does happen. But the money's being handed out. It's not like they're not trying. It's not like they're not sending out the jab bro buses and all the other nonsense that's going on at the moment. They got the big national day coming this weekend. But at some point, somebody with a touch of reality is going to have to go, time's up, we're done. And the rest of you, tough luck. And I would be running, if I was running the country, I'd be running a deadline. I'd say December 1, beginning of whatever, you've had X number of weeks to get it done. By December 1, if you're not done, tough luck, you're on your own. And we're getting on with life, simple as that. But they can't say that, or they don't want to say that, because, of course, they know full well that the ICU units are not up to much, have never been up to much, and they've done nothing about it. So essentially, this is an exercise in covering their own ineptitude and arse. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. They could let us free right here, right now. Would the cases increase? Probably. Would the deaths increase? Probably. Would ICU be overrun? Yes. Whose fault's that? That's on them. What have they done about it? Nothing.
Oh, sorry to leave things on such a downer of a note, but I felt it was worth it for that little drive-by on Canberra. I've never actually been. I shouldn't slag it off. I've never been there. I'm sure it's absolutely lovely. I just haven't actually met anybody who thinks that it's absolutely lovely. That's all. I'm Glenn ZB. That was the rewrap, and we'll be back here hopefully with some more little just friendly rivalry jabs against Australia tomorrow. Always like to get some in if I can. See you then.
Get inside New Zealand's favourite sport with our new podcast, Rugby Direct.
On the latest edition of Rugby Direct, we react to the decision not to have promotion relegation in this year's NPC. We also discuss how good Hawke's Bay are defending the Ranfurly Shield with rugby commentator Malcolm Jordan. We also look at the Farah Palmer Cup. We're joined by the winning coach James Semple, and he tells us his lofty goals for his coaching future. It's all this week on Rugby Direct.
Rugby Direct, every Thursday on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Powered by News Talk ZB. The voices of New Zealand cricket are back. Brian Waddle, Jeremy Coney on the front foot.
Coming up this week, the early challenges the Black Caps face as they join up for the World T20 Championships, an assessment of the England squad for the Ashes series, Central Districts coach Rob Walter eager for the start of a new cricket season, and we recall a special milestone from 1990 and remember this.
Download the latest podcast now on iHeartRadio, powered by News Talk ZB.